Closing the kitchen.
Well, you want us to say we close? Yeah. We'll close.
But if we close the kitchen, you get that door. Soon as the kitchen is open, it's going to cool off again. Here's this.
It's funny, but I thought I felt the draft over here. Now I don't feel anything.
Closing
Close the
the
door.
used to be the kitchens would be like, 85 degrees and the rest of the hall was kind of chilly. But now that we're not using the furnace, the kitchen's not warm and the heat pumps keep really fast. So. But they were on, I've been here since what, 4:30 or something like that. And they've been on, I come up at 1:30, turn them on. You did.
You're so
Let
good.
Leanne know.
We actually did.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what she said when she goes home and it's too warm in there? Who had the heat on?
They do like.
We're not gonna let you live that down.
No problem with Bob LaRue, Dan Riley.
Who do we have?
Bob LaRue, Dan Riley, Isaac and Chad.
Isaac being Caleb or you don't know? No,
Just first name and Chad being winery.
could be more than
I
one
said
Chad too.
Chad being winery, maybe. It's only Chad I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's no issue.
I only know one Isaac too. I only know one Isaac and one Chad. Doesn't mean, I only know one in our town.
I know a couple of other Isaacs, but they're all youth.
Gotcha.
Was it Chad? Is it Jim Bonaventure and Chad?
Okay. There we go. Is this in the way of the camera? Okay, we're ready. Did everyone have a chance to grab a handout from the table that Leanne so graciously got together for us? Good. This is some minutes from select board. I was just reading them. This one, right? All right, welcome. Let's call the hearing to order. I just want to remind everyone that we are speaking directly towards the select board. When you have a comment, if you could please stand and tell us your name at least the first time so that we can recognize who you are, and people at home can also tell who's speaking because the camera doesn't go that way. But if you could always stand, you don't always have to give us your name because we'll know you after the first time. But that way everyone can hear you and enunciate well. We do have a 3-minute timer because we have 1 hour. So we want to make sure everyone has a chance. I'm gonna do it right here on my phone.
Good idea.
So that way, we can keep everybody on track and get out of here, or you guys, if you choose to leave, you can leave at 7 when we're done. But select board stays and you guys can stay too, because we'd love to have you. So, tonight we're here to talk about the road bond and, concerns. You have paperwork that talks to you about the proposed Article 19. And it talks about, the loan and bond requests and basically the projects that are kind of highlighted that he wants to cover with the bond. So would somebody like to start? Yes.
I'd like to mention one.
And your name?
Name's Howard Borzelli.
Thank you.
So we introduced our last road bond, and we're still paying on that. And when we did the road bond, there were all the roads that were on this road bond never got done from the last one. So basically, the ones that were on the road bond that were supposed to get done, that money didn't get done. And I really don't believe we can afford this road bond without going up exponentially on our taxes.
Thank you, Al.
How much do we owe on the last bond, and how many more years do we have to pay?
Great
And
question.
what percent is the interest rate on the last bond?
It's right in the pocket.
It is on the packet.
That's okay, let's tell them.
I mean, we know.
Oh. So it's a 10-year bond. We paid 2 years on it so far. And correct?
$1,187,739. I think it was 2%.
And do we know what the current rates are? I know what,
It varies throughout the years. I think it's on,
If you look at the estimate of debt service, that talks about projected going forward.
it should be a list from the road, from the main bond bank with a list of payments, and the interest rate is there for each year.
Is that projected interest rate or guaranteed?
okay, you're on.
the area. So based on this bond that we just took out, what is still in the kitty spent on for that 1 point whatever million?
Zero.
Is there any balance? None. And did all the roads get completed with that was projected on the estimate for that bond?
No. Thank you. Lenny. Oh, I'm sorry, were you here? Could you please stand? Thank you.
I'm just wondering if there is anyone here who can represent what Jim's thinking was when he wanted this to go for an up or down vote at town meeting. Is there anyone here to represent his thinking?
Should we continue discussing this without him?
Leanne,
You don't know what he's thinking.
I know he,
hold on.
I know
I'll
we
come-
presented at the last meeting that the total of the two payments for the years going on, would it be, and the road budget, would it be more? Would it increase every year? He would do what he had to do with the remaining between, what was left over after the two payments.
What is this year's road bond amount that we're paying for the,
1.4,
No, 150.
this year's payment?
155.
50.
155,000, okay. I just saw another hand.
Might have just been me flashing my.
Did he say the total would be around 285 or something
For both,
between the both?
it would be a little bit more than that.
It'd be coming out of his summer road.
Right, and he said he
Budget.
wouldn't raise the budget from year to year, he would just use the difference, like from this year,
Mhm.
the payments to do road work.
Yeah.
He said he wouldn't increase the budget because of the bond.
Mhm.
Because when we did the last bond, did he make any commitments to not raise the amount? I don't know, I wasn't here.
You mean his road budget?
Yes, Robert. Yes, Daryl.
On the last bond, my memory is that we were told that if the town approved that bond, he would not be seeking increases in the road budget for I don't know how long into the future, but very quickly thereafter, the road budget requests were for increases, so I'm not terribly confident that we won't get increases in our budget if we do agree to do this bond as well.
Mhm.
Thank you.
David.
David?
Dave on, I know the original paperwork from 2021, it does state what area was set. And then you're welcome to have it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
No, this is the word, so. Okay, go on.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, that's the word. I did talk to Jeremy, though, he had some thoughts.
So on this list, which ones didn't get done?
Delete.
Yeah. Okay. What about Pine Shore? Was that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Went down to the beach. Oh, but Tucker Road is
About Church Street, so I know what's on there again.
most of it, but I'll forget.
Those.
So really, half of them. Half of them.
What does shim cost? To get it ready?
Shim
No,
is
shim
known
is-
as top
Shim
layer,
is an overlay,
finish, the finish,
basically top coat.
finish layer.
Okay. And that's what the first bond was for?
No, it's 1.4.
First bond was 1.4 or?
Oh, maybe it was. I know it was 2 or under. I don't know if you want to compare, but these are the cost of items from the previous bond. And I know some of them have doubled on the new one.
This is an extensive list of the same, of what was done on the previous bond, and,
You have it in your hand too, Sue?
I'll pass that along.
I gave it to you too, Sue. You have it too. That's what I just handed to you.
What you just
The
think?
detail of the last one.
I know. That's, so there's a lot of, looks like a lot of prep work on here. But that's not on here,
What's that?
prep work for the roads.
The article. The article was worded. So we could see for the.
I guess it's just a payment.
So on this current road budget, where it lists all the roads, it just says the paving cost. What about the prep work? Like, it's in here.
The estimate is for paving. The article says road construction. The article.
Yeah,
in
Article
there,
19.
Which the lawyer wrote up includes. prep. The news on.
So can you see better?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes,
You have Ben's projection on what he's gonna do with the money we're raising from the budget, not this article, but his other budget. You have that information, so we know what the plans are each year. Since we don't have a road committee anymore, and the budget committee, you have, what them want. Usually it's around
I know the first one he planned on doing was the Pratt Hill. This Pratt Hill Road. That was gonna be the first on the list for this summer.
That's that.
Isn't that covered by something else?
Yeah, I don't, that's why I wish he was here, because I think it was
Yeah.
No,
covered.
Yeah.
no, you decided not to go with that.
Oh, he did?
Remember you have the general contract, what do you? call it?
The
The guy,
surveyor,
and now we
yeah.
paid $100-something thousand to engineer it,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then you decided not to go with that plan.
that was for the culvert, wasn't it?
For the bridge, or
That was that when we had.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a culvert, I mean the paving and things.
I know last year Pratt Hill Road was in the budget to do. It was like over $100,000 in the budget, but then with all the flooding, he had to use that money at other locations where people couldn't even get home.
Right. and it's just easily-
Some of it, yeah,
I have a question.
sure.
Hopefully somebody here can't Jason's bill. Assume everybody knows that. He's not just skipping the meeting. Right?
Right, yes, yeah.
Okay. Is there anybody here who has knowledge of the risks and benefits of a bond? We have to pay for these roads anyway. So, I mean, are we kicking the can down the road, or, who can speak to them? What are the risks and benefits in having a bond? Now, before, I remember him talking about how he was gonna take the payments out of the road budget. And somehow we would save money because we'd already have it. You remember that? Prices go up.
Right.
Oh, yes,
I remember that.
that's why we did it.
Yes, that's why we did it in the first place. I don't know the exact language to use, but I remember that impression.
When that road bond was taken out, was a moment when gas prices and the prices of petroleum were down to as low as we've seen it for decades. And the idea was to take that bond out and get as much paving done as we possibly could while the prices were a lot lower
During the Trump administration.
Well, that was because
during the pandemic.
no demand. There was no demand during the pandemic.
Al,
So the answer to one of the questions prior to her asking it was that one thing is the budget committee went over all this, went over all the roads. Some of the roads that we, like David asked for, did they get paid? They didn't get paid, money went elsewhere. So the budget committee, when we go to town meeting, we're not gonna support this, the budget. We already told you guys that we don't wanna raise people's taxes a lot, and just going in, taxes will be going up quite a bit. Some people can afford it, some people can't. But what we're doing is we're driving young people out of this town, we're bringing in people from out of state into this town. So I believe we should try to keep our taxes down as low as possible and do what we can with the road. Like you said, Benny said he was gonna pay for it with, the summer road budget, but yet he goes up 7% on the summer road budget. So, I mean, you can see where this is going. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brown. And does anybody give me a thought, do you say 10-year bonds? That, outside, that you're fixing is gonna last 10 years, not in good shape, it's gonna be junk. And it's gonna need work long for 10 years for up. And it's, why not take the normal money you spend to fix roads? If you add what the interest you're gonna pay on the loans to that every year, you have pretty good money to start working on some roads, some. I think if you do all it within, let's say, 2 years span, guess what? You're gonna have to do this again in a 2-year span.
Like we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Estimating winters.
David?
I don't know if anyone answered Doreen's question, but the requested amount for this year, summer roads was 433,152, and of that, 154,182 was the payback alone, and 279,170 was the regular road.
Did everyone hear that?
Did he list what he was gonna do with that 200 and some odd?
We have it in the road,
It
but
is-
it's
it
very
is.
expensive. If you wanna see it, I'm sure you can go to the town office and get a copy.
Lenny,
Couple things. Yeah, I would like to know the source of your.
You have to talk to the,
you
Oh,
talked to
sorry.
select board, that's right.
I would like to know the source of Mr. Borzelli's information that young people are being driven out of town and out-of-staters are taking over. Also, if I can remember my other thought. If we have a 10-year bond, that doesn't mean we can't do any road work for 10 years, correct? Does that say you can't do road work for 10 years if you have a 10-year bond? That was Mr. Brown's point. If these roads would need work before the 10 years is up, are the two even related? Kathy, you're a road person. But I still would like to know Mr. Borzelli's source of this information.
Judge and jury over here.
Did you wanna address that at all?
Miss Terrell.
I think what,
Excuse me, you have to talk to the chair only.
I think what Wesley is getting at is the roads that have already been done with the first bond we've had, that we have another bond put out, then the roads that we have paved with the first bond, they're not gonna last for 10 years. And they would have to go back over again before they got too bad. Is what he's saying. Which is probably right. If we get ahead of ourselves.
Peggy Matthews, it sounds like that almost half of the road's budget now is going to pay off the last bond. And you already spent that money several years ago. I don't think it's a wise idea to try to do this again, because we're gonna get further and further behind. I think we should suck up a couple of years, of not having the roads perfect, so that we can try to get caught up and not have half our budget going to pay past debt. That's what's happening every place. Unfortunately, the federal people can afford to do that. Our small town has to balance everything.
Thank you. Daryl? Kathleen, you'll go next.
Once upon a time, we used to put a certain amount of money, aside in the budget specifically for paving, and that money wasn't to be touched in any given, summer for other aspects of the road. We could go back to doing that and start to build up a pool of money. But what needs to happen if you go along with doing something like that is you have to have a long-term plan. It seems to me, the townspeople have been asking for a long-term plan of what's to be done with the roads for many, many years, and we just don't get it. Now, maybe in Bim's head, a long-term plan exists, but it seems to me it's fair to the townsfolk to have that plan in front of them to assess and comment on, if we're gonna be spending huge amounts of money, which we are, to pave the roads. And I'm not saying paving the roads is a bad thing. I think it's probably a good thing, but I think it has to be done in a very thoughtful, and planned out way.
Thank you.
Kathleen Terrio, paving dirt roads right now, that when there are roads that really desperately need repair before, why would we do that? Is then he's saying at the last meeting that town farm roads will get done in 2 years. Where are you coming up with that money? That's a 4-mile road, and that road is the worst road in town besides Platte Hill.
Thank you. Lenny, then Peggy, you can go next.
Any answer to that?
I just would like to say that either way is fine with me. It just bothers me that Vin isn't here through no fault of his own. And it bothers me that people say things without citing the source. Now, Miss Terrio here said to me, oh, the judge and jury right here. Miss Bedard, that is why I said something. But it's a reasonable question. If you're gonna say young people are being driven out of town and out-of-staters are taking over, where is the source of that? I would really like to know. Is that a fact? Do you three know? Is that a fact?
Well, no, I wouldn't think so, but a lot
I
of
mean,
people moving
Some
in.
people from other towns have moved in,
Yeah.
there's no question.
Are they driving young people out? Is our budget driving young people out? I'm just curious. Those are such inflammatory things to say.
I have not seen, data on that.
No, I don't think anybody.
Peggy, and then Al, you'll
Well,
go.
I'm pretty ignorant of how the roads work around here, but don't we have a road committee?
Used to.
No?
At this time, there are two people who still sit on the road committee, but the road committee has not been, it has not had full membership for a while now.
So does that mean what was suggested about like a plan? I would say like a 20-year plan, since roads are a long-term thing, that's never been developed from the road committee? What? I'm just wondering, that's what?
No,
Well, I would think in a town, you need to be forward looking and have absolute plans for your known expenses you're going to have in the future. It's kind of like anarchy if you don't. I mean, you're just going, year to year is kind of like living to the end of the month and hope you have enough money.
Al, I promised you next.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been knocking on a lot of doors trying to get a consensus, and a lot of the people that are young, that I'm knocking on doors, they do not want their taxes to go up. They're really struggling to pay their taxes. The other thing that Peggy had mentioned, I was on the road committee for a bunch of years. So was Steve Ellsworth. And, when we did a plan, I went out and got meters and put them on all the roads. Some of the roads that we did a long time ago, never done. And the reasoning being is we're not the road commissioner, okay? So we had
They weren't fixed.
they weren't fixed. We had a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, we had overlays, because like he said, after a certain amount of years, you have to go back and overlay. We have roads right now that need to be overlaid. So we already had plans set, but once we could not do anything because they wouldn't listen to us. I've even had Lee Holman at one of the meetings, and at that time I quit because I had enough. Me and Steve, we just had it. We were putting our own time in, our own gas money, driving around, measuring roads, looking at roads, writing a whole extensive, very extensive plan for the town, and it went by the wayside. So.
I think,
Answer your question?
I think the only road that needs to be overlaid right now is the Perry Road.
What about Green Acres?
Green Acres.
Didn't we just do that one too?
Church Street.
Church Street?
Well, the thing about any road, like what you just said about Perry, it was paved just recently, but it's paved with a coarse mix. And what you're supposed to do is let people drive on it for 2-3 years and, let people drive on it for 2-3 years and then put a shim coat over that, which is a much tighter mix. Wes knows about a little bit about these things.
He didn't hear you.
I was just saying, that what an overlay is after you drive on the road for 2 or 3 years, then you go back and pave over that with a tighter mix.
Well, if you build a road to state specs for pavement, that's gonna be expensive. And when you do, then you do put a binder down first. And it's a thick one. Then after that, they put a finish coat on top of that.
The overlay.
So you end up with like pavement that thick on a base that will hold it, hopefully. And not always happens, but that's the idea of it. And that's what you do. But we can't afford to build a state road.
This is true.
So I'm not in favor of long period, don't matter what they're for, because you look at the federal government, and that, you know, that, and I looked it on the computer before I went down. And each taxpayer in this country owes $287,000 to clear up the debt. And I don't want to see the town of Hatfield go down that road where we're giving these bills to our kids and other people coming into town. I think we should pay more as we go.
Daryl, you were next.
I'll be quick, and I pretty much, you made the same comment, the road committee was in fact developing long-term plans, and I guess it was a couple of 10-year plan. The problem is, if the road committee has no authority, it only applies the selectmen and the road commissioner, so. We're not completely functional even when we have a road committee in terms of, either listening to the advice or, following any kind of plan. So I think it's a matter of, ultimately having the select board and the road commissioner and road committee in synchrony, not in battle between one another, which is where it ultimately ended up, and why we no longer have a functional road committee. So I think there's some work that needs to be done to get to that point.
Steve Ellsman.
Yeah, so. Sat over there, weeks ago, here, and talk about how it's doing. And I finally answered the big concern, that he was going on, actually, it makes a lot of sense, was with this weird weather we're having, washouts and everything, we're taking all this money and just taking it out and fixing and patching, until we get home after work or whatever, because of the erosion from all the water and rain and past flooding, and just takes some copper out right off the roadway, and it takes money out of the budget, and before you know it, there's no money left, and you just, trying to tap things off, to prevent this from happening. Phone calls and people approaching them about, my road, my road, not, doesn't have to be, and even what's going on with the weather and all across the whole world and how it's changed. I mean, if we don't do something different, eventually just throw money away, right? Just patching it, fixing it, it's just washing away. Instead of sealing it off correctly and with the right material so it can't wash away. You gotta figure out something. Right?
I just wanted to say thank you.
What's that?
I just wanted to say thank you, Steve, that was so reasonable.
Richard is online on Zoom. Richard, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
There was something, Susan, there was something crawling along your paper by your right arm. I guess it's disappeared now. It looked like a bug or something.
It's
There.
a ladybug. See it? Oh, hold on.
It's a what?
It's upside down. I'm sorry. So sorry. Flip. There we go.
That wasn't what I was calling about. But I thought you might want to know it was there. My question is there any way to estimate, and there probably isn't, is there any way to estimate the savings in snow plowing on the paved roads as opposed to plowing the dirt roads?
There-
As I understand it, there may be some savings in snow plowing after the roads are paved. Now, it won't be, a huge amount, but I was wondering if anybody had put a pencil and paper to that to see about how much savings there might be.
Leanne, can you answer that?
It's a 3-year contract, so we pay the same each year.
No, I think he means if there's a savings between paying the, plowing the paved roads and if the dirt roads are a pain in the butt, costing more to.
Well, let me explain. I've talked to BIM and a few other people, and I thought the push was probably the people that lived on the roads that wanted them paved, but I understand that's not the case. I understand that BIM wants to get them paved because it's easier to plow them. And if it's easier to plow, there must be some amount of savings.
I don't know if
Does
it's
that answer? Is that clear?
Lee? You have an answer to that?
I'll wait and check.
Hold on. Hey. Lee's gonna talk to Richard's comment.
Yeah, I think the only place where there's actual savings for the town in paving roads is when a gravel road has been paved, then they're not scraping gravel off the top that needs to be replaced every year. So, and then when they scrape the gravel off, what it ends up is going off with the snow and it goes off into the ditches, and then of course, the ditches fill up and the town has to pay to have the ditching done, and the ditch removal goes to fill, and then we end up having to bring in some gravel and add that to the road in order to crown it with the grader. And I spoke to Jeremy today. You'd mentioned Jeremy's name, and while Jeremy has nothing to do with this bond proposal, he did talk to me a little bit about roads, if you want me to take a minute to talk
Absolutely.
about that. Okay, well.
And then
I made
Al,
some
you're
notes.
next up to
I
that.
made
So
some-
as I understand it, there would be some savings then.
There would be some savings, but it wouldn't be a huge lot. And that
There
would
would be very much.
roads
Okay, thank you.
and in any case, the things that he mentioned, that Jeremy mentioned to me, and Jeremy, of course, was road commissioner for a time and actually hires contracts out to do quite a bit of our road work, so he has some sense of this. One is that our local gravel is running out. We've been taking gravel from gravel pit just over the Sumner line, and just across the river in Sumner. And that gravel pit is running out. In fact, there's not gonna be gravel available from that pit this year. There may be some more coming, but not a great lot. So the gravel is running out, and it's gonna cost us about an hour's drive to Auburn Aggregates or to some other place to get gravel to put into our roads. And what he pointed out was that over the last 20 years or so, we actually have really been gaining on our roads in terms of the condition of our roads. There's a number of roads, when he was road commissioner, they rebuilt a small section of Stetson Road, and they rebuilt the Ricker Hill Road. Those roads are built, well, if not right to state standards, pretty darn close. They were, they went way down below, and they did a lot of digging, they really worked on it. And that's where, in order to avoid huge expenses of like a town farm road, for instance, was paved over, but that road was never actually properly prepared for paving. They just went over it and paved it. That was the first road that got paved, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and anybody who's lived here longer than I have can maybe correct me, but that was the first road that was paved after they changed to actually paving, because what they did before that, they actually used liquid asphalt, and they used to pour it out over the roads and use that to sort of seal the roads, and that was considered good enough. And then you'd put sand over that. Do you remember driving over roads that had sand on them that was had liquid tar? And oh man, my car hated that. In any case, so I just wanted to, this is what Jeremy was sharing with me, that actually over the last number of years, probably last 20 years or so, we actually have been gaining. And some of the roads, like Farron Hill Road was paved, and some people felt like Farron Hill Road, it's an orphan road, and why would we pave that? But that road was costing us a lot of money to go up there and coal patch, because coal patch is very expensive. You end up with patches on top of patches on top of patches, you're not really gaining at all. So that's what he said to me, and he said if we don't, in the long run, if you don't pave some of these roads, we end up spending a lot more for gravel.
Al?
Okay, we talked about building the road, we talked about asphalt, and we talked about overlay. We didn't talk about skim coating it after the 10 years. He said, if you go too fast, in a certain amount of years, there's a bunch of roads in here that are already cracking. And when they crack and the salt goes through, they're gonna break up even faster. So when I was on the road committee, I think it was $160,000 per mile. I don't have no idea what it is now. Me and Kathy
What?
talked about,
160,000,
just a skim coat. Just to
Per
go
mile.
back over the road. Remember we were talking about.
I know last year it was just a little over $100,000 a mile.
For skim coat.
Well, that was, yeah,
I mean, years ago, they didn't do skim coat, they did what Lee said, is they went with oil down the road and then.
Well,
they backed up with gravel.
liquid tap.
I don't believe it's quite got the 160 yet.
No, that's what it was when I was on, it. Maybe it was up there. That was a while ago.
On your sheet here that we passed us on the paving to Crack Hill is 1.25 miles,
Mm-hmm.
and it says the 160,000 paving. But I mean, I'm just going by the figures that are on here. It says 2.5 inch. And it's
And then the top layer,
Well, that's another figure. It's a fine grade,
Ken-
was,
Ken wants
is
to-
$10,000, and the 2.5 inch is 160,000, and I think, I don't even know what the Pratt Hill is.
Well, maybe that's this year's figures he's using.
So
That was the thing,
160 to do that.
because Brad Hill is in this budget.
Mhm.
That was my.
Now, and my question on that, for this paper, if you go with the bond, to fix up Pratt Hill, it's $170,000. And all that's gonna go on Pratt Hill, according to this thing, is $30,000. So what are they gonna do with Pratt Hill for 30,000? And it's bad, and a lot of people use Pratt Hill.
Right.
Yeah.
That and
Hold on,
that's
Ken's
one
gonna go
reason
next.
why
Let me-
it's not a great thing to be having this hearing while the road commissioner is incapacitated. Because he don't necessarily have the same answers that he would have. But one of the things I was told is that the money for Pratt Hill Road was put in here in order to get a better quote. But the Pratt Hill Road paving money is not actually to be included in this bond. It would be out of the current year budget, because this was money that was this is something that was intended to be done last year, but because we had so many washouts
Rain.
and so much damage from the heavy rains, that they were just running around putting out little fires here and there. My road was washed out, so people couldn't drive on it 3 times in 2022.
Ken?
I'm Ken Violet. I was on the budget committee, and as a lot of people here have stated, we have $156,000 bond, we still have 8 years of payment, and the road needs repaving at that point. My feeling is if we put another 1.4 million in, that means for the next 10 years, we're gonna be paying on that bond, so we're talking 300,000 of the road budget is gonna go directly to paying back bonds. It's unrealistic to think that we're not gonna have to put more money in some road budget and increase our taxes even more. So I just think it's unrealistic without a long-term plan that's been discussed in here, without a road committee, that we just keep dumping money into a bond and putting money on roads without real data-driven decisions. I think we need to get back to some basics and look at which roads, possibly start a contingency fund rather than go for bonds, and pick a road that we need done with the data that shows it's the most important road to get done. Not what I see as kind of willy-nilly is where we're at. And we need to have a plan in place, something long-term, something short-term, get people involved. This is not an emergency situation where we need to make a decision here, right now. I think this ought to be postponed. Decision should be made in the future and with some more data. We don't need to bond it. We can do contingency fund money in this year's budget if we choose to put that in, or we don't have to. We can just go ahead with the road as proposed without a bond. We can discuss it next year when Jim is feeling healthier and he's able to attend meetings. But to go ahead and put this before the town, when we don't have all the details, it's rushed, and there's no reason to rush. It's not an emergency. So take your time, have this well thought out, get a road committee involved, spend the money wisely when you do spend it. That's my recommendation.
Lenny's next, and then
No,
Doreen.
Teresa is next.
No.
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I didn't.
No, I
see
had
anything.
Lenny and Doreen and then Teresa.
I was just going to say that it sounded to me like you had some volunteers for a road committee.
I think anybody here who cares about the road committee should fill out an application for committees. Please do.
I asked Harley if he would come back, and he said, yeah, it all depends on the circumstance of how the selectmen.
Okay, Doreen, you were next after.
Okay, I just wanted to know if you had a dollar figure on the damage that the Mudstone did to our road, cost wise, and how much did we get reimbursed from FEMA? Or did it all come out of our road budget to repair all of that damage we had?
We're still working with FEMA.
Yeah, it's a,
Have you got any money back from the yet?
it's a don't hold your breath situation though. I think they've just about finished with 2021 storms.
So all the repairs and stuff to the roads for the water, all came out of our road budget.
And when we get money from FEMA, it will go back into our road budget.
That was my question. I just wanted
Because,
to know.
like last year, we had 300,000 or something, a lot of money on the Pratt Hill project, and that all got spent repairing roads because they were washed out. Teresa,
Teresa Bennett, I'd just like to say, under the circumstances with Bim being out, that I feel like this whole meeting should have been postponed.
It should have been.
I agree. Because
Well, it's
we don't have, you know, the knowledge that he had, being the road commissioner.
Yep.
And, I just feel out of respect for him, it should have been postponed.
it's too short of a notice.
Well,
Leanne,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
The board of selectmen have to sign the town meeting warrant tonight, because it's going to the printers next Tuesday, so we can't postpone it for this year. It's either yes or no.
If we postpone this hearing, we would postpone the whole thing,
you can't put forward.
which is not a bad thing.
Yes.
If it goes another year, what are we gonna lose?
I'd have to go with what Ken said, we need to, you know, we really need to sit down and have a group of people that are really weighing this out and putting forth information for everything that needs to be done,
Mhm.
you know, financially, that, you know, I don't think.
That's right.
Yeah.
We can accept this proposal.
Lenny?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't some evil plot.
No.
They got this.
No.
So, you know, there's nothing to get worked up about, but what Steve said, thank you so much, made a lot of sense, that Ben thought of this as a hedge against the kinds of weather events we've been having and having to use the road budget for it. Even if you do end up paying interest, you wouldn't run out of money. And that was what I understood, Steve, and I appreciate your clarifying that it isn't an emergency, but these weather events are bad. I mean,
Absolutely.
the whole side of the shoulder by my house washed out.
Yeah. 219
219
had really
was,
bad
you
stuff.
know, in peril, of falling down the bank into the stream, which is protected. So, you know, these are realities.
Which will take out your driveway.
Yes, it was.
Daryl?
I think the interesting question, I think, is, an impervious surface is going to have faster, harder runoffs, presumably than, non-impervious will have harder runoff and faster runoff than an impervious surface. So I'm not completely certain that a paved road might produce more damage on the road edge and washout than
It certainly did in some towns.
gravel road. So I'd like to see some evidence of, is it better if given these huge downpours we're getting paved or unpaved? It may actually turn out unpaved is better. I don't know, but water does soak in with gravel.
Say something.
So-
Well, in the town of Hartford, the only roads we experienced real damage this past year with the bad rains we had last summer, the only roads that were washed out, particularly so that people couldn't drive on, they were all gravel roads.
Oh, hold on. Kathy wanted to share.
The only road that I see, well, two roads that I see that was really bad, was unpassable, was Cliff Lee's Road. And there was a place on Garden Road where the water was coming through so bad it washed the road out, and all the gravel ended up in this individual's driveway. It was halfway down, he has a pretty long driveway, and gravel just went halfway down his driveway, and that's all where it all ended up.
But 219 was closed too. There was like
Yeah.
sections of 219 that just disappeared. We have Richard on the line that is next. Richard?
Yes. Yes, just one more question and then I'll be quiet. Can you hear me?
We can.
Hello?
Loud and clear, Richard.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. We can hear you, Richard.
Are we muted?
He muted himself.
Oh,
Hey.
can you hear me
us
now?
We can hear you the whole time.
Yeah, I can hear you now. I got
Wonderful.
muted or something. I just have one more question now, then I'll be quiet. Has the budget committee made any recommendation regarding this paving bond?
Yes, David, do you want to reiterate the budget committee's recommendation?
All five members did not feel it's permanent at this time to put this forward, given the current situation of 112,000 extra in school and what, 27,000 in county roughly, give or take. So that's like 150,000 extra that we have to. So it was our opinion that we should not do this.
Richard, did you hear that?
I can't hear what he's saying, no. Can you just summarize it real quick?
I sure can. The budget committee, all five unanimously recommended that because of the other things that had gone up, like school budget and the county budget, for $150,000, that they didn't feel it was feasible to go after another bond at this time. So they
Okay, thank
recommended
you.
not to do it. Yeah.
Thank you.
And if I may, reiterate with that. If we go for another bond, that's another 150,000 for 10 more years. Now you're tying the hands for 10 years of future select board members, future budget committee members, future road commissioners, that the resources won't be there until these bonds are paid off. There's no endless money pit that's available for this town at any time. So there's only so much you can cut. And at the point, you're just gonna have to stop all spending to pay back bonds, is my view. We're making decisions, not just for now, but 10 years out. Like we said, we can't control school. We can't control county. There's certain things that can't be controlled by select board or budget. One thing that we can control putting money towards certain roads with money coming out of the contingency fund that we have a plan for particular roads, rather than a broad brush, for $1.5 million in one sweep that we pay for over 10 years. So think long term. Don't think what's good for this year or next year. We can grade gravel roads. We have for as long as they've been gravel roads.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And
Jason Lampley. I like what Ken's saying about the contingency fund and the certain roads, concentrating on certain roads with a projection and a plan. We've heard the plan all night long. I had a question, obviously Ben can't answer it, but I'm wondering if he can at some point present to us the calls that he gets on certain roads. How many calls he gets on the road and from who? How does he go ahead and make the list of who's gonna get which road done when? I'm just curious, there must be some sort of record as to how he justifies his course of action.
Kathy can answer some of that question, Jason. Thank you.
I've been talking with Bim about this bond and all this. And the reason why he was trying to put this together was because he has had a lot of complaints on the dirt roads. And his answer was that if he paved them, they would end the complaints. But the reason why he was putting this forward is he figured that it would either stop the people from complaining. And if this didn't pass, then he's just figuring this would take the pressure off him and put it back on the people by saying you guys voted this down. And
Jason, did you have something to add to your comment?
Yep, I understand all that, but my question is, how does he come up with that road? How many people, is it one person that calls him every 6 hours from the same road? And it's a bother, it's a burden, or is it a large group of people that are calling all the time?
I don't know how he
We
determines.
to that specific.
I know one road that has been complaining a lot about their roads. As a matter of fact, they couldn't understand why their road didn't get done with this last 1.4 million, and that was the Darrington Road.
Not the upper part not the upper part that hasn't been snow plowed, but the below there. there's a
Intersection.
hill that is actually, and the intersection is pretty bad.
Hold on, you're first.
Did he survey the residents on these roads? Cause I know a few that I've talked to on Tucker that don't want it paved. Did he even ask them? They don't want it because of speed. They don't want to have people speeding on that road. Did he survey all the residents before he made this decision?
Those will be good questions when he comes back.
You know?
Hold on, we got,
Uh,
and you're next. Lou.
I would think number one, it's not so much pressure from the townspeople, but he does record that, puts it in his memory bank. But I think most of it, this guy's been a road commissioner for quite a few years, and he knows, I think, the condition of the roads, what has to be done, and when it has to be done. Okay, that's all experience, and I'm sure there are people here who have jobs or who had jobs that they learned through experience what to do when. And I tell you, experience counts for all. Thank you.
Lou, and then David.
Blue Rain. I talked to Ben in answer this gentleman's question. It's the school department. They're the biggest complaint on the dirt roads.
Mhm.
And the trash guys.
Yep.
You didn't say that, right?
I hate the trash guys complaining.
It's the school bus drivers.
David?
So way back when, we used to have, everyone had to call the town office to make any form of complaints. That way there's a record. So why doesn't the board implement that? And someone said something about.
Gonna answer
But-
both.
Last year, or year to date, we spent almost $80,000 on there.
Hold on, Lee has an answer to,
Dave, you just said, why doesn't the town, and I'm gonna say, to what Lou said, and he's absolutely right. It's the school department, and maybe there's a problem with the buses and the drivers, but they run into some big problems. And so it's the school department, and it won't be the bus driver that calls, they call back to the bus garage, and the bus garage calls, and, and this happens at 7:30 in the morning or 8 in the morning. It's not like the town office isn't open then. They could leave a voicemail, but that's not gonna do any good.
At least it will be documented so that you know what was actually complained or how many.
I hear what you're saying, but you gotta understand that a lot of these calls, the other kind of calls that sometimes comes in the middle of the night is, he gets calls in the middle of the night from people who are struggling sometimes, so.
we have Brenda online. Brenda? Brenda, are you there?
There we go. Can you hear me now?
I can. Welcome.
Okay. So in regards to the question about how the list is compiled, because I know there's been some questions about whether Town Farm Road should have made the list or not. And of course, we recently had our enormous potholes filled, and we did have storm damage. And that was a paved road from the storms this last winter, to clarify that paved roads definitely washed out as well. But like my question is, was it one resident that wanted Tucker Road paved? Because in my opinion, Tucker Road can stay a dirt road. They could actually pull up the pavement on Town Farm Road, as far as I'm concerned, to make that a dirt road. But where is this list? I mean, do we just drive around and say, well, this road looks like it could use paving? I mean, because there's certainly different conditions of different roads that are on that list. And I do feel that there's a majority of those roads that I do not feel need paving at this time. Not to say my road needs paving right now, because if we're gonna allow people to drive, large equipment on posted roads 365 days a year, I don't particularly want to see any of my tax money go to pave this road right now. I'm happy with the potholes getting filled.
Okay, I just want everyone to be conscious of the time. And we're just gonna take a couple more comments. We have, Peggy, I think you had your hand up first, and then we have Richard, and then we have Al.
Well, Rich is back.
A lot of this contention could be solved by having better organization. First of all, I've worked in a different kind of field, and when you take phone calls, you write a message, you could record it, you could just have a format that whatever happens when, like, you're on the road commission, some complaint comes in, that you have a record of it. Another thing is, I see in the town report, you list all the roads and how much is spent or the budget is for each of the roads. We should just have some kind of document that's accessible that lists the roads and what condition they're in. There must be some kind of standard to evaluate the condition of a road and estimate how much longer it's going to be in reasonable condition. You should be able to figure this all out. It shouldn't be rocket science, so that people aren't having all these contentions back and forth. If it's just planned and laid out, then things would be, I think, be more streamlined. Plus, it would help with your budgeting and figuring out the future and how much to put aside for all the emergencies that come up.
Yeah. Richard?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can.
Good. My question is, looking ahead the next, say, 5 years, and thinking that some of those roads may have to be paved, would you expect the cost per mile to go up or down for paving?
Up.
Well, that's what I'm thinking too. Thank you.
Yeah, and Al.
To answer the lady's question prior to this, I don't know if you guys heard me say this, but it was my guess when it was good, Gus said I got like 10 road meters to do all the roads in the town that we had a lot of traffic on. And at that time, old Route 140 was busy. Tucker Road, because it was a go-through road, was very busy. And I live on Tucker Road. I would not want to see the whole road paved. I would like to see the hill paved. I think every road in town that's a hill should be paved. A lot of the washouts last year, everybody knows the culverts were blocked, a lot of them were blocked. I've seen people come over and just take leaves out of them, that's all it needed, and then the driveway got washed out and it was full of leaves. So there's maintenance on these culverts and ditching. So, and we did do the road meeting when we were having road committee, but nobody paid attention to what happened. And I'm sure Harlan still has the information on what was done.
Okay, thank you very much. And you're gonna wrap it up for us. Oh, sorry.
There's a lot of talk about all the washouts, and storm and all that. FEMA should be buying all the expense from that. How much money do we get from FEMA so far? How come?
We're still working with them.
They are just finishing the 2022 storm numbers. So the storm with
They're slow.
the big storm we got in 2022, we haven't even gotten reimbursed for that yet.
We're still working.
And just
with them.
because we spent so much money, they're only gonna reimburse what they think we should be getting. So we don't even really have a good number from them.
Should be covered.
Absolutely.
And in the end, it's all our money. You're right.
You'll be last, right here. Bert,
Real quick, I'm gonna set a standard, it's gonna be a real crude standard. Why don't we go around and count how many potholes are on paved roads? And set that for a standard, and the ones who have the most get to work, and the dirt roads, the one who has the most mud holes in it, gets the work. That's a simple standard. I mean, because what happens if you've got a pothole or a mud hole, is you gotta slow down, it's harder in the vehicle, hey, take care of the worst. That's my standard, real simple and easy.
I went up Darrington Road today, and it is bad.
We went up it yesterday. I thought it was minor.
Minor,
We went all the way.
I did too.
You gotta have your truck with stiff suspension.
We took a Prius.
Yeah, we go for Prius on that road.
yes,
It's my turn.
We went to all the roads.
Hey.
I'm having some good feedback from the crowd here about accountability when it comes to the road budget and what are we buying? We just had a bond, what, 2 years ago, 1.3 or whatever, with the interest 1.6. And there was a whole stipulation on what this bond was gonna do for us. And now you guys are saying it wasn't complete. Do we have any, is there any factual figures, Mr. Bowe, and I don't need to put you on the spot, but is there any factual figures about what we didn't get done on the last bond that has to be carried forward onto this one? Is it 70,000, 100,000?
There's a spreadsheet.
Which
You have that.
Which roads were on and it didn't get done?
Well, when someone presents a bond to me and they say, we're gonna do this, this, and this, but shouldn't there be a down arrow that says, well, we're not gonna complete this, or this, or this, or this? It's like, and now we want another bond to complete the first bond, and then how much is actually gonna go to what the second bond is telling us we're gonna have? So accountability is huge, and we had a town meeting last summer about
Right.
Darrington Road, and $70,000 that they wanted to upgrade it. And then 7,000 for winter maintenance, which was gonna bring our mill rate up another %, and everybody said no, the townspeople said no. So Ben went ahead and did it anyway, and someone cut a check. Where does that come from? Does that come from one individual, the entire county, or maybe the road committee? Can you answer that, please?
Go ahead.
So that was a storm washout. FEMA is gonna reimburse us for that.
Okay, so it wasn't
We have to
road,
do summer maintenance on that rate.
and that's the top, right below Riley's
Mm-hmm.
house.
Yep.
Yes, I saw that, and that was probably $20,000 worth right there. Is that what we're saying?
You know, both sides of the road there,
Yes.
if they do, isn't that considered a driveway? If they own both sides of the road?
It's a town road.
Okay, thank you, everybody, so much for coming this evening. When Bim is feeling better and, able to participate, I know we have lots of questions for him. I hope everyone that, has safe travels on our roads tonight, say a prayer. We want Bim back as soon as he can get back and get healthy. Those that would like to stay, the select board meeting is starting and we would love to have your input or your feedback. Otherwise, I'll give you a couple minutes to mosey on out if you want to leave. Hey, Isaac. Thank you. Thank you. I wanted that.
That's mine.
Hey, Doreen, do you want me to get you a copy for yourself? Because I'll make one and bring it over. Okay.
I'm just, you know,
I know, it's so helpful.
I don't know how long I was on the budget committee, but I'm just looking at that. No, I'm all set. That's fine. No, I'm not on the budget committee anymore.
I don't be.
Well, I know, yeah, and I need to be off. It's a lot of things. I'm getting old. But I like to see figures in front of me. Right. You know. When I see one big thing and you just get one big figure, I want to see the breakdown.
Right, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. But I'm wondering how much is gonna get done on Pratt Hill, because on the budget. Again, it's
We had that very
30,000.
question on Monday.
It's only 30,000.
Right. Right. And we don't know when we're gonna get FEMA money to replace the money we had budgeted for them.
That's how.
That's why I wish he was here, you know. He could
Yep.
answer the question.
Did they put his stand up? We talk about him so much without him here.
Did they do anything
He's
today?
got fluid around the hat. And
He's got a
he's got a blood clot
One of his
a valve.
valve doesn't open and close, and they don't want to cut him, they're gonna give him some medication from Zolver.
How old is Ben anyway?
63.
2, 3.
Not terribly old. I don't call that very old. No. Thanks for showing up.
There. Appreciate you coming. You gonna stay? Nice. No, we should have called out. Does anyone deliver?
You guys want to be drinking?
They don't appreciate it, we do. Reading one town meeting, I spent over $100 for coffee and donuts.
I think it was it
Somebody
this one?
complained about it. They said, never again.
It's crazy.
Like you say, there's no, you can't do anything about school budget or the county. The county has to see because they're,
Other trash.
okay?
Yeah.
School you can, but people choose not to. They choose not to say no. The school committee budget gets together and they say, hey, things go up, okay?
We should have, gone back to Buckfield anyways, we should have pulled out.
Yeah.
Out of the RSU, didn't Candy pull out too?
Yeah.
Just below Riley, that was.
See. It would have cost like 1.5 million to give out. You guys, it would have saved that in the long.
Yeah, yeah. We should have never went in with them.
But Governor, well, that's his rule. Join, we're gonna find them.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, yeah, that was
am I right on that figure?
bunch of bull.
And, well, look at Bethel. They never went with anybody. Where are they gonna go with? They're in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
They're all by themselves.
Yeah,
And they never got found.
Yeah.
no, we should have stayed.
Yeah.
I know RSU 10 out of 10 or 6. Poland, Mechanic Falls,
I know.
Minot. They're angry because they keep closing all the community schools and
Hey,
everyone
can you hear
goes
me better?
Poland. Minot's like, that's.
Can you hear me better?
Poland Elementary. And how do the parents volunteer when it takes them 40 minutes to get there? And the kids are getting home wicked early and.
Hey, look at the West Side School.
Next
Oh, I
week,
know.
it's a good idea, try it.
So,
They sometimes.
Okay, can you hear me better? Did it can. Okay.
I'm assuming you got a hold of Leanne, okay?
yeah, it is. So, it's on my other phone and they could transfer. everything.
He has a burner phone from the last murder. Burner phone.
I think I
I watched too much NCIS.
Yeah, she does. And,
Maybe.
I'm resident of the
Oh, all right. How's that going?
Is there a special way to aim at? What is that?
It does, it really does.
It's,
I felt that.
it's,
Get that upgrade, but 70
and
grand.
so he's got an adapter and that's supposed to, from the VA, it's supposed to make it so that it projects the sound better for him.
Well, Wes has
Okay. Which side? West? On the right.
This is so hard in here. It echoes, it.
This place is bad.
Yeah.
Lights.
Okay, everybody.
Lights are bad.
How are you doing?
Good.
And that one's okay.
That's right. Welcome to the select board meeting. I'm so happy you're here. All right. Oh, Leanne's got her hydration. She's all good. We were, sorry. Okay, so we're calling this meeting to order at 7:12. 7:13. All right, first we need to approve the minutes of the April 18th selectmen's hearing and meeting. Did you guys have a chance to review them? Yes. I'd like to move that we accept the minutes from the last meeting.
I second it.
All in favor? Thank you. There you go. All right, next we would like to approve warrant 21 and the payroll warrants for April 24th and May 1st. Can I have a second on that?
Look at this.
All in favor? Great. All right, RSU 10 report. Does anyone have any information? Did anyone have a chance to zoom in on the budget on school meeting on Monday? I know we were in a meeting, so.
Actually, I did hear from Chad, our school board representative, and he told me that, let's see, school board meeting, he told me that there's gonna be, let's see. For budget informational, no, that's not the right one. Yeah, I'll have to send you right there. There is gonna be
May 20th.
May 20th, okay. great.
And that's one over in Mexico?
Thanks,
No,
because,
No.
South Buckfield.
right,
budget
May 20th. Thank you for that.
And then May 29th in Mexico is when they vote in person, and then we vote at the polls on June 11th.
Okay,
But it did go up over $100,000 for heart.
which means
And that's-
overall.
And that,
a lot more
meeting in Buckfield is at 6:30 p.m.
on the
So I know
20th.
you'll all want to be there.
Okay. All right, the next would be a road report, and we've got a road complaint from Sam Annis Road and Town Farm Road.
Yeah, actually, two.
Do you want me to review the things, or I think Ben's already got them, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't think this is gonna go anywhere right now, because
Right.
it's another subject.
Yeah.
I just want to mention, since one of our complaints here is that, there is a, frog pond, a vernal pool that has dried out. And, it says that, that is because of, the ditching on the road. And I just want to say that, there is no ditching in front of my place, but the frog pond that has been there for the 50 years that I've lived there and always was there till sometime in June, has gone dry the last 2 years. It's dry now. Frogs all dead, and there was no ditch to make that happen. I just want to say, I think that there is something going on with the water table that has nothing to do with
Ditch.
municipal.
Great.
Starting off.
What's UPS guy?
Mhm.
Thanks for the delivery.
There was a UPS guy?
It's a UPS guy. Wasn't he wearing shorts?
No.
Don't they usually wear
Okay,
shorts?
anyway, you know, nothing more about that, but just to state about this complaint that, there's not, I don't think that somebody's frog pond going dry is, within the purview of the select board.
So do I answer her with that comment? I have to answer all of these.
There's gotta be some way of putting it, but, you know, I don't believe that it is within the purview of the
Look
select board.
it over.
Here, we will look at mine too while you're at it.
Water table is low at the moment.
Right, that's what I'd put.
Yeah.
Water table changes, right?
You know, I mean,
The table's not low. It's
when
definitely full now.
my frog pond is full, My cellar is full as well. My cellar is now dry and, well, has no water in it, let's put it that way. And the frog pond is also empty. Frogs all dead. You know, I mean, but the rain surface water, the water table is what causes a vernal pool. So apparently the water table is not that high, not in that spot anyway. And so, what can I say?
Drill a well in place right now.
You know, I get water in the well, it's up on the hill. There's water in the well, it's fairly hot. The frog pond is gone. So,
I guess I didn't bring copies. I responded to the last two generic.
I was gonna say these two came from.
yeah,
Should I
so
respond to
this
these
is,
two the same as I did?
I think so, yeah. I mean, what else can we say, you know? I think that if this is the fourth, the third and the fourth generic complaint all printed up on the
And
same printer.
There's more out there that
Yeah.
have been left on doors for people to sign and send to the town.
So these complaints have been printed up by a resident, bringing these complaints to people's houses with an envelope and leaving them at their houses, asking them to please send a complaint to the town. Okay, because these are identical to the ones we received last time. Okay, well,
Which road is that for?
Sam, and so.
People that gonna be live on CMNs are getting the letters.
So people who don't live on that road are also receiving the letters? Okay, well, you know, I think that if the generic letters, the generic answer is in order. I mean, what do you do?
And we got one regarding Town Farm Road from a resident on Town Farms. I know we got another one with pictures too.
Yes, I sent I sent over 40 pictures of potholes on Town Farm Road, and that wasn't even the first mile, and it was 4 miles long. So I got 40 plus potholes, some of them were deep. And of course, he knows that I want Town Farm Road paved because it's so bad, but he's putting it off for another 2 more years. And they filled the potholes.
So they did do some work on the road this week.
Passed by,
No.
and this way, and then another year, it was told all would be there again.
Kathleen, did you say they filled some potholes on the road?
They did. Took them 2 days work to do it, and it's like, they're gonna be gone before the season's over.
But at least they did attend to some of the, for a moment.
Try to pacify people to get this bonus.
Lenny?
I would like to request again, we not speak disrespectfully to someone who is not here to defend himself or disrespectfully about his work. That seems like a personnel issue the board needs to take up, and formal complaints need to be made since there is a process.
Well, Kathleen did notify the office, so we do appreciate that. You sent pictures, right? Yeah, all right. And thank you, Lenny. Next on the agenda is the constable report. Do we have anything?
Nothing, stay quiet. Hopefully stay quiet.
That would be good.
Yeah.
All right.
Last week, 2 weeks ago for that one.
Okay, code enforcement officer report.
To the
Oh,
chairman.
ahem.
To the chairman.
Yeah, all comments come this direction, okay?
Well, I think the constable should have stopped that meeting. Last time, he should not have allowed them to scream and shout. And, it's sad that the other 2 select members didn't stop that when he was screaming at you. That was unprofessional. It was embarrassing. And it was stressful to listen to the screaming that you 2 allowed. Isn't there a form over there that says that people shouldn't be doing that? Why was that meeting not stopped? It should have been stopped.
Thank you. Maura?
There is a form over there, and I see it, really, not obeyed, even at this meeting. At all meetings I have seen, and I even have slammed my hand down to tell people, please use the procedure, respect the procedure. It still goes on, and it is the select board's responsibility.
It was just like at the,
Thank you.
probably that last meeting, just like the one we had for the ATVs.
Very
The
good.
ATV meeting was really bad. And it was up to us to approve that. And of what went on, this, you guys are lucky we approved it. The way that meeting was so bad.
Thank you.
Lenny's
Yeah.
next. Lenny.
Someone
to her, and she was.
And
pointing to her.
someone who
Hold on,
was
okay.
participating in that meeting by Zoom, I have to tell you that what I perceived was that Bim really didn't get a chance to make his points, and people in the gallery were attacking him. And another point is, it's up to the chairperson to stop the meeting. The chairperson is in charge of the meeting. It is not up to the other two select board members. You know your Robert's rules or whatever it's called.
Thank you. I think there's Leanne.
It is up to the chair, but she was being screamed at. I can't remember my other point now, but I'm still stressed out about that meeting. I wasn't even gonna come to another meeting if
Mhm.
that happened again. You guys need to control it.
I was at that meeting in person, and I was getting it in stereo, and with the accusations that I'm hearing, and the insinuations I'm hearing, I got a recorded copy of that meeting, and I went and I can timestamp the 14 minutes before I had to pause it, that then did have a chance to clarify what he was trying to say, and when it wasn't going the way that he anticipated it, is when this girl was getting verbally assaulted while the two of you sat there. That is a public document that anybody can request a copy of at any time. It is public. And that is a fact. I heard it, I have a copy of it.
Kathleen.
And the difference between the ATV meeting and Bim is Bim's an employee of this town. And he should respect his bosses. You select board members allowed the employee to control you. And that's not how it goes. And it should, I'm embarrassed that even happened. An employee was allowed to scream at her and you two just sat there. I'm sorry, that's awful, awful.
I would like to move forward with the code enforcement officer report. Year to date, did everyone get one? I think they were over on the table. Year to date, building permits issued 5, and last year we had 8. Year to date, plumbing permits issued 0 so far, but last year we had 2 at this time. No complaints came in, no inspections, and respectfully submitted, so. All right, and we did not receive an ACO report, correct? I did send her a message and asked her to submit her last month. Now I need to ask for the last 2 months. What's that?
You talking about a dog that hit by a car or something like that? Or?
So we have the ACO submitting, they're supposed to be submitting reports on the activity when a complaint comes in, when it's called in, when it's attended to, and what the resolution is. And so we've been having a few challenges getting those reports for our meetings, so I will make another call. All right, planning board report. Do we have a report? Have they met?
They're meeting on the 6th, which is next Monday.
Next Monday, great. All right, ordinance committee did not have a meeting. Fire warden report. Did anyone notice that the state site to get permits was shut down for quite a while? Over a week, fire danger was so high that they just stopped issuing permits online. But as of yesterday, because of the rain, we actually were able to get some.
But it doesn't take very long this time. of
It does
year.
not, and there's a
Once
lot
it
of ground
stops
cover.
raining, with a little breeze, the surface dries out and all that grass and leaves will catch fire quite well.
All right, next on the agenda is the treasurer's report.
You have the expense report, here's a copy of, taxes by year, which are still due. Here it is.
Taxes were due May 1st. And 193,503 has been received, but 329,000 is still outstanding. Am I reading that right?
The balance of this year's taxes is 326,612. That's June.
Yeah. Wow. Is that sound?
It might be a little high because we didn't send out reminders, but. I've been trying to put it on Facebook.
I was
and
gonna
email.
say, it's been in a lot of. Hmm?
I think people would know every year.
Oh, I think they know. I think that times are hard.
Well, it's also only the second, and, I just came and paid today, and paid the village. So I think I like to think people will drift in. The payments will drift in, because sometimes it comes in checks.
Do they get reminders for that?
We send out the notice. This year, we chose not to send out reminder postcards.
Something's happening with the economy, I could vouch to this. Normally I can get like 25 calls for these, for people that wanna buy them. It's not happening. Even Tom Batchelor is way down, he'd sell 200 groups a year, he's probably down to 15.
You don't need bees for solar panels.
I'm just saying that the economy is, government's pulling back on free money and the economy's paying for.
I think that's a fair statement, Al. All right, is there anything else on the treasurer's report that we need to talk about or address? Okay. Cemetery committee report.
Yep, I'd like to report that we met on the 19th of April and met on Church Street at a residence there that thought he might have a burial ground on his property. Five of us walked that property extensively. We found no evidence whatsoever.
Not even ghosts?
No ghosts, no spookiness, nothing. He didn't even feel eerie. So, we determined that there's more than likely, and we've also told the owner if he has any evidence and asked for evidence and he couldn't show me any, if he comes across it, to let us know. We brought a probe in case, but there was no evidence of it at all that we saw. So we completed that task that we've been waiting for snow cover to be able to do. And then we went to Parsons Cemetery and we worked there for the remainder of the morning, straightening out stones and lifting stones. We probably did about a dozen of those in the first run run. That's all I've got to report this month.
Good work.
Excellent work, yes. All right, solid waste committee has not met, so I know there's no report. Hey, Laurel.
Question for the cemetery chairman. When is the Pine Grove workshop in Canada?
I believe tomorrow it is August 12th.
August 12th, thank you.
But I will, when I get
You will-
your email, I will get a hold of you for sure, and let you know.
Thank you.
They are having, I don't know if I announced that. Capital Supply, the company that we get our supplies to be repairing and cleaning of stones, has a 48 state tour that they do annually. And in this state of Maine, they've done it in numerous places, but Canton applied and they got chosen to do a tour. Capital Supply comes and provides all the materials and they do a restoration, schooling for anyone that's interested. So I'll give more information on that in further meetings that we could actually that anyone can attend, it's open to the public, learn how to clean, straighten
Nice.
stones.
So I have a question, I'm looking at August 12th, and that's a Monday, would that happen on a Monday?
I'm not sure.
It's being
I'm not
kind of
sure.
a weekendy kind of thing.
I believe the recent email, but I will get a new email about every week from them, and I will be able to give you that date.
Well, we're a ways out from August,
So
yeah,
I'll let you know ahead of time
great,
for sure.
thanks.
But it'll be a good opportunity.
I think that's great.
Seeing how to restore and clean, straighten stones.
That's very cool.
I like to clean the sisters.
All right, we have some calendar reminders. The planning board is meeting on Monday, May 6th at 7 o'clock. The waste committee was meeting on May 8th at 6:30. Unfinished business. Are there any other calendar reminders? I know we don't have that one for August. Anyone know of anything else going on that they want to share? Yes, Lenny.
By nothing weekend, load in May 31st, shop the 1st, clean up in the last minute the 2nd.
All right. You'll post that on reminder too, so that people, thanks. Excellent. Good work, Lenny. That's a great community service. All right, unfinished business. Oh, yes, Mauro.
Did you, fail to mention, Lenny, about, I'm sorry. You failed to mention that, deadline for, the newsletter that's coming out,
It's on the agenda.
which is when?
It's on the agenda.
Huh? It's on the-
Yeah, it's under new business.
I don't see it on there.
Well, it's under new
And
business.
board letter,
Oh, way down here?
new business.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. I didn't read through this.
I wanted to say something. Yeah, so collating date hasn't been chosen because it's not put together yet.
May 30th,
May 30th? Okay, that's what I want to know.
9 AM.
May 30th.
Did you check to see if the hall was free?
That's just my plan. I will check with you, Leanne.
Well, since I just wrote it down, she probably doesn't have a calendar with her, so no.
That's okay. I
Yes,
will
they
check
do.
with Leanne.
You do, is it free?
In the morning, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we're not planning to do it in the afternoon, that's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now we're gonna move on to the town meeting warrant approval.
Did I give you a copy?
Mm,
You go. We have one. This is with. But I have other options.
Okay. So this is with no paving included, not the bond. Correct. Okay.
That's good.
And Buckfield Recreation is in there with no request
No.
amount.
No amount. Okay.
You know, they didn't give us a request amount, so. And it was also very late.
I did, I know you're reading, I did add the, oh, never mind. Never mind.
Okay.
It's not in that version.
What's that, Lee?
I did have a chance, I showed up early, so I've had a chance to read through this.
Oh, good.
I do have one suggestion for a minor edit, which is, I think, Article 16. The fourth line down, it says of these months, I would like to say, put a comma.
Prepositional phrase, yep.
Yeah,
These
comma,
months. Yep.
and I would suggest the word which rather than that.
On the fourth line of Article
16.
okay,
Yeah, so 1, 2, 3. I'm kind of 4 down. It says here, for any part of these months that was approved by the legislative body, I'm gonna suggest it's these months, comma, and you could leave that. would be okay, but I would probably use a which. Yeah. Which was approved by legislative body. Minor edit.
Article 37 is a new one. Regarding the sale of property.
It's been changed to comply with state law.
Yep. Mhm. Okay, so we've just reviewed the option that has the no road bond in it, no paving. What are the other options that you have come up with? One is with the bond. And what's the third option?
This was just, my thoughts for an alternative to take 100,000 from fund balance to put in a paving only reserve. I just got that ready in case you wanted to do something different.
I'm curious why we didn't discuss that during budget committee, but I guess it's not up to them.
It just came up.
She just had the idea today.
You know, that's not a bad thought.
No.
You have a question out there, Susan?
Oh, yes, Ken.
Question if I may ask, are you gonna open this for public? On this town meeting warrant approval?
If you'd like to say something, stand on up and say it.
From what I understand, you have 3 different options in front of me. As I discussed earlier. I think because of the absence of the road commissioner not being here to be able to answer questions, and this not being an emergency bond that we need to make decisions on, the roads that are currently crumbling that people aren't passable, or gravel roads that can't be graded for another year. I suggest that we either go with a warrant without Article 19 approval, or the warrant with a contingency fund, but we would pay.
I think you're preaching to the choir.
Yep,
I don't think that at this point, the taxpayers or them, our priority should be them, making sure that he has input and that he gets healthy, more than a $1.4 million bond,
yep.
and that we ought to take our time and thoughtfully, as everyone has talked earlier, make good conscious decisions, maybe a little data, a road committee, if we can establish one, and move forward with this with better data and better decision making. And maybe if we do have a contingency fund, we can target roads. That's an option, but we have time to plan this out. We don't need to just make a quick decision here tonight and go to town meeting with this. I think that we can drop the Article 19.
That's,
Is my real.
this is the one that has
And which article would that be?
Article 17,
It would be Article 17.
to see if the town will vote to appropriate $100,000 from fund balance to be placed in a paving reserve account to be used only for future paving costs of town ways.
That might be a good
So-
answer for folks. I mean, it's not the kind of money that again was looking for, but if we were to have a pay
You there?
Oh, I lost
Hello,
Back on and it muted them.
hello.
Hi.
Muted us.
Hi there, Richard.
Yeah, there wasn't any sound, but now there is.
Thank you.
Thank you. We just figured that out, but we appreciate you.
Can you hear me?
We can.
I said that a minute ago there wasn't any sound, but now there is, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
Nancy Reed texted me the same thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The whole thing shut down and I didn't notice.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that we go with the version with the paving reserve in it, which is an additional article of 17.
I'll second that, and then for discussion, do you want to add with the approval of the select board?
Yes.
Yes.
We have a motion in a second, all you have to do then is.
All in favor?
All in favor? Excellent.
Okay, so this is the original, if you could sign in your spots towards the end there.
And you're gonna make the revision as approved by
Yes.
select board?
You can mark it if you want. But you approve all money going out anyway.
Right.
It's just
So you
nice to
want
know ahead of
prior-
time.
You want prior approval?
I don't, to me, I don't want it spent and then find out it's been spent. I think we should be saying where we want it
Yeah,
spent.
I would like to, I think, it would be good if our road commissioner, whoever she or he may be, would come to the select board and say, okay, I have a paving project, I'd like to use the reserve account. And we'll say, yeah, okay, and then once it's spent, we'll sign the warrant and that's how it
But
works.
just with selectmen approval, sounds like you'll.
I said prior approval. Prior approval.
Okay, I missed that.
Yeah, I had actually written prior on me, but.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me. And, I completely understand and agree with what Ken was saying about a committee, but, I don't see, since we're signing this document tonight, and we do not at this time have a road committee, I don't see putting road committee on there at this time.
Well, technically, we have a road committee, we just don't have members. Right, it's not like the rec committee, you don't have a rec committee. You have a road committee, you just don't have two members.
Yeah. 17.
Yeah, 2 members.
And here you go. All right, the next thing is town report preparation.
That's, oh, you have it in front of you, if that's a way, we need to.
Did you guys see this and read it?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Somebody has for it, but
Yeah, it's excellent.
so I gave you copies of what I have so far for the town report. But I'm gonna be crunching this weekend, so I'll send it to you before it goes to the printers.
So, and I guess I mentioned to you, Jeremy is gonna come by and
Where we sign
take a
this.
look at
Yeah.
that. Or it could be emailed.
I'm just guessing.
That might
1, 2, 3.
email or text it to him. I don't know how that can work, but that could work too. Susan, you got another question.
Oh. Mo.
Hi, Moral. Oh, yeah.
That gets your attention, huh? Excuse me, appointments, resignations, was this a people's board alternate, a appointment,
Yes,
or was it a resignation?
it's an appointment.
What?
It is an appointment because we had a resignation a little while back. We had a resignation a little while back and we, elevated the alternate to a full-time position, and now we need an alternate. And so
Is there
we have
anything else
somebody,
for
the
town book?
appeals board
No,
is
I'll just-
really
I'll
special
send it
because
to you
Leslie
before it
finds
goes to the
people.
printers.
Leslie sends the final people and says, this one will be.
I'd love to.
Appointed to, the alternate?
It hasn't happened yet.
Oh, I'm
We haven't
sorry,
got to
I
that
thought-
part of the agenda yet.
How's that? Okay.
Yeah.
Volunteer.
You wish to be on the appeals board?
There's forms on the table.
One way up to get it before the end of the week.
Okay, we're gonna move on to broadband grant funds. We have, what is it, 4,000 was not
We
spent?
have $4,000 and at this time, I don't think we will have to put to return it. It's possible that we're gonna be able to actually use that money for something that is internet access related. It could be like, you know, we could supplant the money that we've set aside for a new computer, for instance. That's one of the possibilities. I don't know for sure if this is gonna happen, because right now we sort of have a middleman who is Amelia Purcell. But that's what she told me, so that's one of the
Some community
good
concept.
news. Yes, yes, and so I call it good news at this point, but I don't have complete information at this time.
And we know that it's meant to be spent by when?
I don't even know what the deadline is.
No idea,
came
but in
in-
any case, like I say, Mia is a team player for us
Okay, great,
and working on that.
excellent. Okay, thank you for that update.
Yeah,
Solar panels, solar garb removal.
snow removal.
What did we find
I
out?
did talk to, I did talk to,
Each? A month, I mean, an hour.
Kane, oh gosh, I can't think of his first name, but I did talk to the guy and I called him up and he said that in fact it is kind of a hassle because particularly the ones on the upper pinnacle, the little ones they call dogs. You might have to actually lift the panels, but he might be able to come and just take down the bottom panels. The catch is, no matter what happens, he has to bring all the staging and bring another guy. And so it's, you know, and so there's an hourly rate for that. I don't know how long it would take. And I think he was gonna get back to me with an estimate on that, but as we both agreed, well, it's not gonna snow anytime soon.
God, we hope not.
What the rate, $75?
$75.
Why would you all want to remove?
Because turns out, they were put there in the first place because of where the ramp is, so the snow didn't suddenly slide off that and end up on the ramp on top of somebody's head. But what happens is, it just kind of holds the snow
Snow
on there
back.
like a blanket, and we're not getting the sunshine that we should. I know my panels, because my panels are a steeper angle, but there's absolutely nothing to keep that snow from sliding off. It just whips itself right off.
Good question, Leah?
Me?
Oh, I
Yeah, we
you
thought we
raised
saw your hand.
No.
Okay. All right, open session. Does anybody have anything for open session? That's a hand for you.
Yeah.
Leanne, what do you have for open session?
So Jaylene set this up, the Day of Caring program at Buckfield High School. They have agreed to come, I think, did I give you a copy?
I think so.
Yeah, they agreed to come to the beach on May 17th to clean.
Great.
That's awesome. Now, I sent a request over to the same group to get them to help with the cemetery committee.
Jaylene does.
She must know somebody. No, I sent it back in like January.
So
Nobody ever complains, though. They're all dead.
Get the beach clean too.
I'll clean the beach if they work in the cemetery.
So someone's gonna have to bring rakes, maybe a wheelbarrow, and she's gonna let us know 2 days before we have to provide lunch.
They
Okay.
provide lunch?
Yeah,
Dang.
lunch and drinks.
How many's coming?
I think she said under 10. It'll be one bus, Steve, on May 17th at the beach.
Am I cooking a burger at the States?
No, I think it-
I don't think so.
Fish out of the-
No, no cookers allowed.
Fried crickets.
so if anybody wants to help them or.
What day is the 17th? Is that a weekend or a
I think it's
weekday?
Friday.
These are fine.
It's a Friday? Thanks.
And I have something else too after that.
Okay, and that, go ahead.
Steve, contacted the sign store, is that what it's called? And this is a sample and an estimate for a new beach sign.
4x8.
4x8?
Yeah.
Nice.
Those
Yeah,
high school students?
I like it.
What time are they supposed to show up?
Did I put a time on it? He said they would be there, I'm guessing it during the school hours.
Sure,
Right.
so probably big like 9 or something. This looks okay to me, but I do have some edits. One is, I cannot go this font up here. That does not look like a D. That looks like a doll. To me, that looks like a, that looks like a D. I mean, it just, I don't like the font on the top. It just me. And here, I think, for more information or questions, contact. It could say for permits and more information. So it occurs to me that if we're gonna have a sign for the beach, that it might say for permits, call this number, not just for questions, or, for more information and permits.
Or
I just think,
group outings, because they may not know what a permit.
well, so
before, but-
it could be questions, but, I guess I don't really want to add more words, but it seems to me that if we're gonna have this sign, that it ought to say for permits, like as in, if you want to go here, you're supposed to have a permit.
Right, but say, I don't know,
Permit. parking.
Permit parking only. Violators will be towed.
But, I mean.
Yeah,
This is good, Rob, you guys.
yeah.
yeah,
This looks
yeah.
great. What color is it?
What do you want?
Nice.
Like I say, I don't, I
Green.
wouldn't mind seeing different font on the
Yeah,
top because.
The
it
italicized on the
yeah,
top
it
right there.
doesn't seem all that-
Welcome do,
Doesn't seem all that readable to me.
right? It's supposed to say two.
I mean, among other things, it's cursive, and there's a lot of people nowadays that don't know how to read cursive.
No, I think we're going, so there's a whole bunch of signs down there that are faded, they don't match, this goal is to cover 2 or 3 of those signs with this
And did you
information.
say this costs, how much did you say this sign cost?
Yeah, estimate.
All righty,
that's-
$1,181.
$1,181? So we'll call it 12, that's a $1,200 sign?
4 by
Oh,
8.
shit, I could. submit
I'll make you one for 200.
I'm telling you.
It's not plywood, it's a material.
No, it's a metal material.
Made for outside in the sun.
It is metal.
Years.
It is
not that
metal
fade.
baked on.
Some new materials they've got.
Oracle print vinyls, what it's called.
Oh, and vinyl.
And PVC,
vinyl
9 millimeter.
Can hold up in the sunshine. You look at, vinyl siding starts to crack, vinyl horse fencing.
Then it's got a gloss laminate that's gonna be covering
I
that.
think they said they made the same material used to make all the state signs on the post and see. They did all the same material, the same materials on the signs. Like to the car for the-
$1,200. And is this in the current year budget or where is this?
Yeah, yeah. And it also, this also includes the rope for the beach.
Oh, the 1,100 is all.
And-
the beach.
and it-
Wait, road for.
For the water.
Yeah,
For the
always
open, it only
always
says 120 feet.
No, it's per hole.
Oh.
That was for more than this, that one song.
Oh, so,
Yeah,
okay.
and then,
because that strikes me as being.
Ready-made
priceless.
items, which they already have, would be 12 by 12 So 12 inches by 12 inches, security camera in use signs.
Got 3 of those.
So,
One side is
so,
waterfront and one for the parking lot.
Okay, let me take a look. So the sign itself is $911.90. So 912.
When we have that, it's 10, it's all bags.
There's a bunch that can probably come down, because that'll cover a lot of what we,
Well, the other thing is the sign that we have.
You guys can fix it, so you can word it any way you want. It's just, they charge for so much by, letter and sign of the sign, size of the sign. All that.
You try to get more than one estimate.
the signs, I suppose we could, I know the sign store is, like the premier sign group
This is where you
around,
Get all the road signs.
where a lot of the
Street
signs are,
signs.
no?
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
that's not true.
The country,
Econo signs.
econo signs. So should we maybe check with econo signs or should we just?
I was thinking of checking with these guys for road signs instead of econo signs.
Yeah, it might be better. I mean,
I've ordered stuff from the sign store, they're really great.
okay.
Stickers, decals.
that on
That's where we did our beach stickers.
It is, yep. Across from Dunkin' Donuts, kind of, over there. Next to Napa.
Quick sort of related question, is the permit parking year round, like if you just want to go walk the beach in the fall?
Well, yeah.
I would think,
or is it for the summer?
Well, I should imagine it's.
year round.
I'd say it's year round.
Okay, now, is your area off to the right, is that the parking?
Well, it's gonna be.
It's what BIM's working on, yeah.
It's gonna be. I think.
But again, when BIM
Well,
gets
yeah,
back,
It's only.
when BIM gets back, he,
My understanding is he was hoping actually with that bond that is not. To do some paving on Church Street, there's a Church Street that needs work, and he's planning to do some ditching there. And that ditching material is going to be the next layer of the parking lot, and probably there'll be some finished gravel over that. There will be gravel parking.
Oh, right, and you're gonna be fine.
We've heard about that.
he charges by the letter.
Right?
We just put FMI for more
Well, it
information.
looked like it wasn't even doing nothing.
Which will get rid of this,
Yeah.
and then we can put permits.
You could even just say information permits and
Yep,
information and permits number. We've got another question out there.
I don't have a question, it's more of a statement, I'm not on the select board, so it really doesn't affect me any. But, there's not a lot of controversy, it seems, over the $15 park passes. Do you think that that's gonna spark something that you might not want to deal with?
Having a sign,
By spending $900, but insisting. I'm okay with paying $15, don't get me wrong. I'm just looking out for what might come from you guys spending $1,000 on a side, 912, whatever.
yeah, it strikes me as being pretty pricey.
I'm just concerned for you guys, that's it.
yeah.
Yeah, sure.
If we look down there, many of the signs that are there are faded or really bent, and the hope was, and none of them look like each other.
Well,
So our hope was to get something that looked more professional. and
I
had
have
info.
another suggestion on that too, because having proper signage affects our beach access. And would that not be something that could be subject to the use of our ARPA funds that we're planning to use for beach access? Yeah,
Yes, that isn't in the.
well,
works.
so.
But we wanted to use the money we made from the beach passes to improve the beach also. That's why we
Right.
budgeted.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
So, upon that, pricing too, there's requirements we have to have as well for swim lessons and ropes and dimensions, what's supposed to be roped off. And we just been roping off a little piece of our water frontage, and I'm roping off all of our water frontage to keep boats from coming.
Yes,
in
so
on
we
the
don't have,
beach.
right, of course, so we don't have watercraft coming in.
So this money is gonna help with labels we have to have, the state requires so much inch, what it has to say per core buoy,
We have to be so many feet apart. And green have to be a certain type of roads, be certain type of anchors, or kids with the, light stuck in it. It has to be a certain distance off the shore of the beach, so this is following all the guidelines that the state trying to stop it.
Got an update on them, Rose?
They did a test earlier and they're just waiting to see if the bug thought will resolve.
So they're actually they're actually managing to keep him down.
Yes. Much as they can.
What?
What? What? It's printed upside down?
Can I get that? I'll be in tomorrow.
Okay. Brandon's gonna be stopping.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
I'll be in tomorrow.
No.
Happens to the best of us.
We're all thinking of him.
But we're happy for an update anyway. We're all.
Now the main thing is to find out why one o'clock showed up there.
Mhm.
Waiting on.
And he doesn't have to have a stint or anything at this point.
No, they went in, through his wrist to get a better look at his heart and everything, and they said right now he's got one blockage. Makes no sense to anyone
No,
else.
he's right there. Fix it.
I talked to the cardiac catheter nurse today, who I volunteer with.
Yep.
And she said everything they're doing is normal procedure, absolutely.
That's good to hear.
No, it's confused. He's already in there.
Right.
You're right there.
It could be really hard to get him back there.
That's
That's what the there, that thing. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
They'll clog up again.
Yeah, so his femoral artery in his heart has got a pretty good sized blood clot in it. It's making it so it's not opening and closing correctly, and it's causing fluid to back up around his heart and his lungs. So that
Oh, man.
it said that's probably what is causing all his breathing.
Breathing.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's been
So
having breathing issues for a
I'm
long
hoping
time.
they can get it to go away with just blood thinners, but he said if not, they're gonna have to open his chest up.
Mm.
Hopefully the medicine will work.
Yeah, he said that can take anywhere from a couple days to like 4 weeks.
You're gonna hold him that long?
Yeah.
That's gonna have to like,
That's make sure it's not.
If it don't move.
He's gonna be down there for a while.
My father had done in 75, the crack open the chest.
Oh, yeah, they said as young as he is, they much rather crack open his
Yeah.
chest than go through his.
Right,
going to do it.
and they do rehab, but really, it's good, they don't.
This is in Portland. When he first went to the emergency room, he went back to St. Mary's, and they, he's having an active heart attack. And they said, there's really not, tested on damage. So they're like, they're waiting for bed to open up either at Central Maine or Main Med. Main Med opened up first, so they rushed him down there.
Aha.
That's good, that's a good one.
Wow.
yeah, and easy to park at, and there's so many, it's awful down there, in Portland. Yeah.
Park garage was full.
Yeah, you just keep driving around and around. Yeah.
And you come in one way, and leave a different way. It's a good option. Where he needs to be.
Yeah,
They're trying to keep the signs off.
yeah.
That's something to be, you know, we can start about.
Oh, yeah, no kidding, huh?
Town stuff. So it's, that. So that's.
Oh, gosh. Thank you so much for the update. Was,
You know.
So I have one more thing.
I'm sorry, but you've already presented two things. We have an open business policy. What's the third thing?
So if someone wanted to hold a fundraiser to offset the costs of the beach expenses, would you allow that without insurance and fees?
I'm talking about holding a fundraiser at the town hall for the sake of raising money for the town beach.
Swimming lessons, I guess mainly the swimming lessons.
And this is be for scholarships for the swimming lessons or to defray the cost that the town is spending?
And is this the swimming people and the new rec committee?
We don't have a rec committee.
Well,
Someone just mentioned, holding a fundraiser to help offset the cost of beach.
Beach
Lesson, or
expenses,
swim lessons.
okay. You know, it seems like it would be a good possibility, but I guess I'd want to hear what exactly is going, this is still pretty vague. I think
And I'd
would
like to
want
see
a
them
little
work
more
with the
detail.
instructors.
I think they'd want a little more detail before, before offering approval, but it seems like it's a possibility.
I'd like to see them work with the swimming instructors so they're involved.
Well, you know, they may or may not be involved, but.
More information.
Right, yeah. Anything else, Leanne?
Nope.
Okay. All right, new business, Hartford newsletter and board letter.
Well, the select board letter for the Hartford News.
Yep. Whose turn is it?
I just did the town report.
I think is it mine?
Who did it the last time? I think Kathy was the last one. No, that wasn't the last one.
No, I think you did it.
Did I do the last one?
Yeah, I think
don't
you did it.
remember. Lenny, who wrote the last one?
So the deadline is May 15th, did you say?
Yes. And the next meeting is. This is 9/16, yeah, 16 for you guys,
Deadline's May 15th.
but the 16th is okay. You know, you gotta approve. At your meeting on the 16th, right? Okay.
Right.
I can always look that.
I don't know what month was the newsletter out last time?
February.
February.
I just want to know before all the important events that are coming up.
Yeah.
It's gotta be ahead of town meeting.
Yeah, and I was just trying to figure out, it would have been the previous 3 months, it would have been like January, December, and November.
He's gonna tell us in a moment who it was.
Yeah, skip over to something else, I'll be right with you.
I have that beach cleanup paperback, so I don't think I kept it.
I don't know where we got.
Yes.
You said May, there it is, May 17th.
So, in the meantime.
Yes. Rates will be announced. Lunch.
We have a copy of the newsletter on the table?
That wouldn't tell us who wrote it.
No, but if we looked at it, we'd
If
know.
we looked at it, we'd know.
I'm like blanked out. I'm like, did I write that one? I don't remember. I just don't remember. I thought I did one in the fall.
But I could be wrong. The Hartford newsletter from the select.
This could have been me.
Hello neighbors, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Did you figure it out?
Yeah, I wrote it.
Okay.
You did.
Yep,
And the one before that was Kathy, I remember.
yep, great. So Lee, you want to do it?
I can hardly wait. I think so.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I think I was
Okay,
reasonably handy at it.
appointments and resignations. We had a letter that came in from, was it Peggy?
No, it was.
Or
from-
Leslie.
it was from Leslie Benes.
Yeah.
Has suggested Tom
Um,
Rodriguez as a appeals board alternate, but I think we just got another,
Yeah.
another,
So who do you
did
think?
Tom fill out his application as well?
I don't think so.
You know, I guess, you know, I feel like.
I know he
she
verbally
would-
thanked
But
us.
she wouldn't have suggested this if she hadn't spoken with him, I feel certain.
He was here at the meeting.
Yeah, he was
Right.
here at the meeting and said he wanted to do it.
Yeah, so there you
Yeah.
go.
Oh, you've only been here 34 years? You were born here, huh? It says, how long a resident? 34 years. No, 34. Yeah, 34 years. That's a long time.
I'm trying to catch up with her.
You know.
So
I've been here
we
for a
only
while.
have alternate openings.
One or two.
49 years next week.
Wow.
I might have to have a
What do
party.
you do to get two?
Yeah.
I might have to have a party.
It'd be
about
great
it.
if we had two, because we got two candidates.
You do, you get two, there's only one opening.
No. We don't have any alternates right now.
On the
Right,
appeals board.
right,
Right.
right, you know.
So can I look at this?
Absolutely.
34 years, that's it.
Thank you.
Have you been an appeals board alternate in the past?
I'm just saying, what we do, we get two, it won't be on
I've
it.
never been on the field, I've been on a lot of things.
You know, make a choice.
But hold on, let me see.
But Tom already said he would do it the last meeting.
Hold on.
We got one
So
of
I might
these.
find them rejected without sticking spin.
Yes.
We didn't tell him to when he was here, when he said he'd do it.
Thanks for showing up, Dan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One alternate.
So here's our dilemma. During our last meeting, Tom was here and we asked him about participating in the planning board as an alternate.
Appeals board.
Appeals board, excuse me. And we have another very high qualified candidate for the same position.
I don't think we have a alternate for the planning board.
I don't think they want. I've calmed down.
You know, actually, you could be really good on the planning board as an alternate. But I think we do have an alternate.
If
Are you
somebody
not an
else
alternate?
is
to the
in
planning
line
board?
before I was, that's fine, I have no problem.
Are you an alternate to the planning board?
No, nobody ever got back to me, I had everything.
Oh, no kidding, I thought you were.
I filled out the paperwork, and very good, to go to the fire department, if you didn't want.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
So I'll make two nominations.
So let's start with the appeals board. So just stay with the one thing that we're working on.
So what is Tom's last name?
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
Flip a coin?
Huh? No, fine, somebody else's, no, I mean,
How did I miss that? I was sure that.
something
I
else.
was there when you applied and you filled out the paperwork.
I don't know,
That doesn't matter, because she points out, tons of people who hasn't done it perhaps.
Yeah. So and Tom
What's that?
sat right here and said he would do it. So We probably should have given him the form that very moment.
So are you saying that you would not be interested in serving as an alternate to the planning board?
We have one right here.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know if Jason is still interested.
Jason,
What's it?
if we nominate you tonight to the planning board alternate, would you accept?
Okay. You play, that's fine.
Because he's already filled out paperwork and won this. I'm not sure how we missed you the last meeting.
Oh, it's been fairly frequent. I bet you November.
Oh, when you applied, oh, so ages ago.
When I filled out paperwork.
I thought it was ages, I don't know how this slipped,
That is.
slipped by us. That is, it feels like ages.
So Tom Rodriguez already accepted and we just didn't nominate him.
Okay, well, we don't need to nominate, we appoint
Okay, so we need to appoint.
in this case.
Are we all right with appointing Tom Rodriguez to as an alternate for appeals board?
I'm okay with it.
Kathy?
I mean, I don't know him from Adam yet, but we did get a letter from, the chair of the appeals board saying that she thought you would be good at this.
Yes, we did.
And I will guess, since she is a very thorough individual, that she has vetted this character before,
I bet she did.
you know. I
Good
mean,
for her.
She's really good.
Okay. Do we need to do all in favor?
I don't know who seconded it. You just asked me if they were okay with it.
Yeah,
So,
I'll second it if he needs a second.
okay, all in favor? Okay, and we'd like to drop our phone. Pardon me?
You know what nice they meet?
They only meet if they need you.
Oh, no,
It's always
he's
different.
talking planning board, he's talking planning board. He's talking planning board.
Okay.
Yes, you'd be on for
Mondays.
Monday the sixth, it's always the first Monday.
First Monday of the month.
Unless, of course, it's also possible if there's a workshop or something else.
Okay, so the
Okay,
alternate
so-
position is only good till the end of this year, and then it's gonna either re-up or we're calling moral.
So it's great, you can re-up, and if not, well, you know. But one of the things about alternate is that you really are supposed to go to the meetings, because how can you serve as an alternate if somebody's not there? If, especially with something like planning board is, you know, if you don't know what's shaking, you really have to be, you have to be doing the homework.
Yeah.
And planning board is a fairly high homework assignment.
So I would like to appoint Jason Landry to the planning board alternate position.
I second it.
All in favor? Another position filled?
Okay, so.
As sad as it is,
so-
we have some resignations to accept too.
We have some resignation to accept. You know something? I know at least one person who said he was interested in the road committee tonight, and that would be very, we have two people in the road committee who may or may not wish to continue, but you know, we can check in with them. And I heard somebody say that, Harley would be interested.
In-
Now,
Yeah.
check with Harley. He said he would.
Okay,
Just make you wait for the road meeting. It's just a waste of time.
Well, then we'll find somebody else.
Waste of minutes.
I've talked to Harley a few times recently, and he seems like he's retired, if nothing else. There you go.
we think it's a 2-year term,
I'm
Jason.
not sure.
But we're-
2 minutes.
I thought alternates were already always 1 year.
Let's see where it says. The board shall consist of 5 members and 2 alternates. Oh, each alternate shall be 2 years except the additional appointments.
So,
Moment.
Jason, 2 years.
That's fine.
Speaking of, you don't have
Okay,
six. You don't have an
okay.
alternate.
They don't, currently, but they do now.
You see that.
Have you got the resignation letters, or I can just announce
This
it?
is about so anything that just happens is gonna show up into.
Okay. We have resignation, Bonnie Bishop. To whom it may concern, as you may know, my living circumstances have changed, which necessitated my moving. This is a sad turn of events for me. However, since I now live in Sumner, I understand the need to resign from the two town committees that I've been a member of. One is the ordinance committee, one is the solid waste and recycling committee. And I truly enjoyed my time on these committees and proud of the work that was accomplished. More importantly, I appreciate the conversations we had and the relationships I've made with those folks. I fully expect that people will step in and continue to do good work for this town. Respectfully, Bonnie Bishop. I regretfully accept that resignation.
Right, with regrets.
Yep,
Who's seconding?
I
I'll
did.
second.
One of us.
I'm not, either one of us would be perfectly happy to.
Did you vote?
All in favor? Richard, did you have something to add?
Did you have open session already?
Yeah.
I had a TV program I was watching, so I missed it. But I do have a comment. I think I heard several people during the evening mention potholes. And I think the select board should be telling people that they should not be growing pot in the roads in the first place.
Oh, Richard. Thank you for that wonderful insight. Okay. Do we have a road committee one? Who's willing to be on the road committee?
Just go get your form and fill it out.
Dave.
Yes, Dave,
Yeah, you.
Where do I go?
It's
Right
a-
here?
There's some forms
Oh.
on the back,
on the back table.
on the back table.
The time frame?
All right.
I
No,
agree.
no meetings have been called anytime soon because you have to have more members than that, but you're a star.
We're all fine. And you can all.
And I'm gonna be here.
Got it.
I'll be here tomorrow.
Okay, well, great. So we're not gonna make that appointment tonight, but we will soon.
Can we still make the appointment? He's right here.
We've done it before.
Okay. I would like to appoint Dave to the
The nation.
the road committee.
That's up to the road committee.
Right now, you're the only one on it, so you're also a member and alternate.
There are two people.
Oh, there are two people on it.
Okay, so,
Anyone second that?
I'll
Yes.
second it.
Lee seconded.
Okay. All in favor? You're stuck now.
Okay, so, Tamara McNeil, I have reminded her several times. I have spoken to her husband and said, would you please get Tamara to write a resignation? She said she wanted to do solid waste committee, but she has missed a lot more than 3 meetings with no excuse. She is obviously too busy for this. So I think I'd like to, I think that we should deem her to have this, as is stated in our, in our ordinance.
Yep.
So I think that we should accept her resignation with regret and move on.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
I second that. All in favor? Okay.
Good. So there are now,
What about these two left on the road committee? Are they,
what about, we'll have to talk.
We have to reach him.
We have to talk, to them. We just have to see what's, see if they're still interested. They may or may not be. He might be the only one on the road committee, but it's not gonna be that way for. in any case,
We are so productive tonight.
So right now, we still have only 3 in the solid waste committee as well. And anybody who doesn't think solid waste is important, obviously missed our meeting, a couple of cycles ago.
Okay,
Because we talk trash.
is there any training or anything that we need to?
Yes. There was one. Here, this one, if you guys.
Leanne, you mentioned that you were taking the training that you weren't able to attend, but that it was going to be a video and you would share it with the
Yes.
select board.
Personnel
because that is
practices, and
resources.
very, very detailed. You should all listen to it.
This is the human resources from Municipal Association. You know,
So who's taking the tax lien
I would
course?
like to.
You'd like to. I think that's, sounds great. I wish we wouldn't have any tax liens. I wish everyone would pay.
Especially since the new tax acquired law changes, I think it'd be a good idea to take it.
Yep.
Yeah. Seems Yep. So I move that we approve the cost of this tax liens workshop for Leanne,
Yeah, I second that.
and the cost is $55. We have a movement in a second, and
All in favor? There's a technology conference happening at the University of Maine at Augusta on May 22nd. That is for us. And for select board members is what,
what is it again?
yeah. Property and Casualty Pool is excited to offer a free training opportunity to your entity. As a member of the Property and Casualty Pool, we are offering complimentary enrollment to Municipal Technology Conference being held at the University of Maine, Augusta. Conference will help you navigate cybersecurity challenges and threats impacting state, local, tribal, and territory entities across Maine. And it's from 8 to 3:30 on May 22nd. It says it's a free one, but and it says $95.
Well, it does say complimentary, so.
I think there's a refund or something down there, wasn't there one say?
Free, only $95.
Oh, it says pay now for this registrant, and then it says and receive 0 invoice automatically. So once you say you're gonna pay, then it will come back and.
You know, I say I'm suspicious.
Me too.
You know.
Guys wanna see it?
So Leanne, I have this to fill out. I have this GA to fill out.
I know you have.
Think we have any, but there's no, we don't have any, detail report. I'm assuming we didn't.
We didn't pay anything, but you had applicants and I don't know how many.
Really, okay.
This is correspondence.
May 22nd is what day of the week? It's a Wednesday. Can I keep this? I have to look at my schedule. If I can get my boss to agree to let me go, I might go. Okay, last on the agenda is review correspondence, and we got that, right? Yeah.
No, I need
Thank you.
See you, Jason.
Okay. I'd like to move to adjourn this meeting at 8:44.
Seriously, that's so early.
How'd that work? Work all right?
8:44.
It's not perfect, but it's better.
Does it, when I go like this, does it bother you?
That's what you, talk about. Okay, you're gonna pick up stuff you don't want.
We don't want to hear.
I'm trying to get stuff.
We're like,
That's the issue.
you made Kathleen mad. She's gonna go out and like do the meat tenderizer right next to it.
Next Wednesday.
What's that?
My granddaughter's art show.
How nice.
Really?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Who's in charge?
I don't know.
For what? For what, ordinance?
No.
Oh, solid waste. Well, this is all yours.
Can't believe I put those upside down.
Whoopsie. You had a lot on your plate. Oh. Oh, no, don't make it. Hey,